Hi guys, so today I'm going to continue my tutorials on faux textures. I did a faux wood grain and I've done a faux brick one, so I'll link those in the description if you haven't seen those yet. But today I'm going to show you how to do a faux marble, so like a marbleized surface. So what you'll need is whatever surface you want to make marbled. I'm just going to do it on a 8x8 canvas. You will need some craft feathers. They don't have to be like super expensive ones. I think these are only like $5 for the 18 of these. And you do kind of want these shaped ones. Because when you do the marbleized lines, that's what we'll use. Or you can use a thin paintbrush. This just gives you more of an organic look to your marble. And then you'll also need some kind of sponge to make a texture. And then you'll need probably at least 3 different large paintbrushes. Or more if you so choose. And then you'll need your paint, and I'm going to do like the normal black and white marble, but then has a hint of like a brownish. So my 3 colors are white, black, and brown. So choose your colors. For sure pick at least 2 different colors for your marble. And then you'll need some kind of palette to mix your colors and have your different colors on. So that's what you will need, and I'll set these out for you again so you can grab those things, and then we'll get started. And I did forget to mention that you will need some sort of cup of water, because that will help you blend your colors together. Alright, so as you can see, I have my 3 colors already out. I'm going to have probably 1 brush for each color. I'll probably leave the brown and the black as the same paintbrush, but you're going to want to have a paintbrush for each of your different colors. And then I'm going to use a 3rd paintbrush as like a blending. So let's get your brush wet with water a little bit first, so it's damp, so it's not like dripping, but it's damp enough to pick up some paint. So I'm going to just clear out the canvas and then plop just a bunch of paint in one spot, and you can't really see the white for me, but then I'm going to take my 2nd paintbrush, get it a little wet, and this one is a little stiff, so I'm gonna get it even more wet, and we're just gonna take our 2nd color and just quickly blend it together like that. And I'm gonna need more white because that made a lot of gray. And we're just gonna do this to cover our entire surface. And you want to be quick because you want this paint to still be wet when you're blending it. So there, I blended it up to gray. Let's put some black back in. And you see my strokes are just quick. I'm not really having a certain direction I'm going. I'm just kind of slopping on the paint and blending it together. And we'll take my other color to lighten up areas. And you can get some water in there to even smooth it out some more. And don't be afraid to just drag your paintbrush to wipe off excess on the corners. It'll just help you blend. Let's get some brown in there. And some strokes you just kind of want to do a light stroke over that and see that marbly effect that you get. That's just because the amount of water and like how wet the paint is, you kind of just naturally get that. You're just gonna cover your entire surface doing this whole process. And I'll probably go ahead and speed up the video right here, and then I'll come back when it's the next step. Alright, so now I've gotten to a place where I like the way this looks, and this is going to be your background base color. So you're going to go over this with your lines of marble, so don't be too afraid of how this looks right now. You want to kind of make it so it already kind of looks like marble, but we'll add more lines and stuff to make it like that. So just focus on just having very dark parts and very light parts with your colors, and don't worry too much about getting it perfect right now, because you can always add more paint and blend it the next layer. So right now just let it dry and see how it looks, and if you want to, you can do that process over again in parts of what you're painting and just make it the way you want it to look. So don't be afraid to cover it with more paint. You just will have to buy more paint if you run out of paint. So, but don't worry about it looking perfect yet. Okay, so now mine is completely dry. And I noticed I kind of don't have a whole lot of white, so I'm going to mix in more of my light white color. And my brush just has water on it to kind of thin out the paint so that it can blend onto my surface with my other colors. And you can take some of your other color too and just do the same process to get it where you want it to be. And now I'm just gonna let that dry again before we move on to the veining part of the marble. So now mine, for the most part, is dry. It is still kind of tacky, but for the veining, you're going to take your feathers, and they don't have to look perfect. I actually picked the ones that weren't as fluffy as the rest in my crafting pack of feathers, or you can do it by hand with a tiny paintbrush, which I'll use these probably to touch up certain lines and stuff. So then I'm going to start with the dark color veining. So my dark color is the black and brown. So whatever your darkest color, if your background is mostly the light color, I would go with dark veining. And if your background is mostly dark color, I would go with a lighter color of veining. So you're just gonna take your feather and you're going to run it along your paint. Like so. So I have it along there. And then you're just going to drag it, kind of twisting across like this. See that twisting motion? And you're just gonna let it drag how it wants to drag. And I'm gonna have to pause for a second. And you can have one more thing that's handy is a spray bottle, because then, let's see if I can get it spraying how I want to. You super wet down your surface, like so, and depending on the surface you can tilt it and make it run. The canvas really isn't doing it for me, but then I can take my feather also and just kind of go back over and almost blend it in more so it's not as stark, so that it will kind of, once it dries, it'll fan out a little bit more rather than just being a solid line. So you can do that with this technique, or you can just keep that solid line because there will be solid lines in your marble. So I'm just going to feather this off a little bit more. And now that my feather has gotten a little bit of water on it, it will do that effect too. Just do the twisting motion, get some more paint on there. Let's see. Start right here and go down. Turn it. Go from here. Now because I have a smaller canvas, I don't have a lot of area to work with to spread my lines out a little bit. But you don't want to make them so clustered that it just looks like a bunch of weird lines on your surface, because you don't want to cover up all the stuff that you worked on before underneath. Let's see. I'm gonna stop here and let this dry. If you want to do more on yours, you can, but make sure you let this part dry before you do anything else. Okay, so I zoomed in a little bit because this part is going to be more of the fine detail. As you can maybe see, it's still wet because of the water I sprayed on it, but I'm going to continue on anyway because it'll help with blending of my colors. So I think I'm pretty much done with my feathering on mine because I don't have a lot of space left for any major lining. So I'm going to darken up some spots with my black. Now if you don't have a third color, you can't really do this, but I'm just gonna go in and darken a few spots, and I'll go ahead and speed this part up a little bit. I'm going to continue on by kind of adding to my strokes that I wouldn't be able to get with my feather. And probably need a finer paintbrush for some of this. But I'm just going to kind of, ones that kind of ended, I'm going to just continue on freehanding where I think it would have gone, or what looks like the marble veining. I also suggest that you have some kind of reference photo to marble, whether you just Google what marble looks like, no matter if it's like the same colors you're using, just so you can get an idea of what marble actually looks like, so you're not going off of just some random picture you have in your head, because oftentimes it's really hard to get the picture that you have in your head onto the paper or canvas, especially when you are painting something that is more organic, or it's just a naturally made thing. Now I'm going to go in just freehand with a small paintbrush with my white, which will be like your lightest color that you have for your whatever you picked for your marble. And I'm just gonna do little light veins on my marble as well. So like you can make it coming from the points where when we made our base that are a little bit more lighter with that color, you can freehand them kind of just coming off of that area, and it'll look like it's supposed to be there. And like I showed you before with the spray bottle up here, if there's a part that you kind of mess up on, and you're like, that line just didn't turn out that great, just give a spray of the squirt bottle and just fan it out and blend it in with your brush and let it dry and do the line over again. That's one thing I like about paint, is you can always just cover it with more paint. You just may end up buying more paint. And I'll probably go ahead and speed up this process for you guys. And I'll be back with probably the final step. Now I think this part for me is a little bit too vibrant, so I'm going to do the water spray bottle trick again, and I'm just going to first, I'm going to tilt my canvas, and I'm just going to spray and let it drip. And run like so, a little bit, and then let it sit. Maybe blend it out a little with paintbrush. Alright, I'm gonna let that completely dry because I just soaked it with water. And I'll come back and we'll probably do one more thing and then it'll be done. Alright, so mine is mostly dry now. And now I'm going to take my sponge. I already got it damp and wet, so it's rather flexible. And I'm just gonna break up all these lines by going over with the white again and maybe mixing it together to get kind of a gray for me. And I'm just going to sponge around, get some of that random black off. There. Just kind of break up some of my veining lines. I'm pretty much happy with how mine is. I'm gonna let it dry and make sure there's nothing else I want to fix. But that's pretty much how you can get a faux marble texture. And don't forget to thumbs up this video if you enjoyed learning this. If you want me to do more of these lessons of basically what I've learned as a scenic painter. If you want to learn more things that I know, let me know, and subscribe if you haven't, because I upload a new video every week. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.